ఓకే, అందరికీ నమస్కారం అండి. నా పేరు వెంకీ గద్దే. ఐ విల్ బి ద మోడరేటర్ ఫర్ ద సెషన్ టుడే. నేను ఆఫ్ కోర్స్ ఈ సానా సిరీస్లో ఐ థింక్ ఎవ్రీబడి ఈస్ తెలుగు అనుకుంటా అండి, సో ఐ డోంట్ థింక్ ఎనీబడి వుడ్ మైండ్. ఆఫ్ కోర్స్ ద ప్రెజెంటేషన్ విల్ బి ఇన్ ఇంగ్లీష్, బట్ ఐ థింక్ మన భీమవరం వాళ్ళం కాబట్టి ఐ థింక్ తెలుగు షుడ్ బి ఓకే.
Okay, very okay. Yeah, that should be fine, Venki.
రైట్. నేను 99 2003 బ్యాచ్ అండి, కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్. అండ్ ఈ సానా శ్రీ సాగి రామకృష్ణంరాజు ఇంజనీరింగ్ కళాశాల ఎస్ఆర్కేఆర్ ఆలమ్నై అసోసియేషన్ ఆఫ్ నార్త్ అమెరికా అని చెప్పేసి మనము 4 years బ్యాక్ స్టార్ట్ చేసాము. సో వీ హ్యాడ్ 2 alumni మీట్స్ యాజ్ వెల్ సో ఫార్. అండ్ ఈ సిరీస్ సెమినార్ సిరీస్లో డిఫరెంట్ ఇమిగ్రేషను, లీడర్షిప్, స్ట్రెస్ మేనేజ్మెంట్, ఏఐ, ఇలా డిఫరెంట్ టాపిక్స్తో సెషన్స్ అని మన సానా ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కమిటీ అండ్ బోర్డు డిసైడ్ చేయడం, దానికి మళ్ళీ మన రవి గారు ప్రెజెంటర్స్ని చేయడం అది జరిగింది. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద లిటిల్ ఇంట్రడక్షన్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ హోల్ సెమినార్ సిరీస్. హ్యావింగ్ సెడ్ దట్, ఈరోజు వచ్చేసి మెయిన్ టాపిక్ వచ్చేసి హౌ టు బికమ్ ఏ లీడర్, ఏ ప్రొఫెషనల్స్ జర్నీ. మన వన్ ఆఫ్ ది ఆలమ్నై రవి వీరమాచినేని, he will be presenting the session. Just a little background of Ravi Garu. Ravi Garu, I think Ravi Veeramachaneni Garu has graduated from SRKR. I think 85, 89 batch, Kadandi Ravi Garu.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, so 89 graduate, and then afterwards, I think he had many industries, many career topics that he touched. He has been a chief engineer, chief architect in various software engineering and consultancy and leadership roles. Again, backgrounds కూడా వచ్చి సాఫ్ట్వేర్ డెవలప్మెంట్, సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇంజనీరింగ్, ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్, high performance computing, cloud computing, you name it. I think he touched almost all technologies, especially the private sector and government initiatives. And he I think he supported almost the major organizations like HP, Informatica, Cisco, T-Mobile, etc. ఆ తర్వాత వచ్చేసి ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్ ఫీల్డ్స్లో నెట్వర్క్ ఇంజనీరింగ్, బిజినెస్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ సొల్యూషన్స్, ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ టెక్నాలజీస్ అవన్నీ కవర్ చేశారు. ఇన్ టుడేస్ టాపిక్ రిలేటెడ్గా చూస్తే లీడర్షిప్ రోల్స్ పరంగా చూస్తే హీ హ్యాస్ బీన్ రికగ్నైజ్డ్ ఫర్ ఎ స్ట్రాంగ్ లీడర్షిప్, strategic planning, solution innovation, high performance teams, etc. And he has a proven track record of delivering results, managing client relationships, kanavandi, guiding the organizations in applying technology to the current business settings. So once again, నేను చెప్పినట్టు he is one of our alumni, graduated from SRKR in 1989 with electronics and communications engineering.
Oops. We lost him. I guess we lost Venki. So just to continue, so I think I also had my master's from George Washington University, based out of Washington, D.C., in systems and leadership management. Okay, so I'll just get started. Thanks for that nice introduction, Venki. Sorry, we lost you, but I hope you will be rejoining soon. So I'll get going on this. You guys see my screen okay, right?
Yeah, we can see your screen. Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
I think
Thank you.
Mike.
You're back? Okay. Oh, we're continuing. Okay, thanks, Venki. Thanks for that nice introduction. Thank you.
Oh.
Appreciate. Let's dive in. I'm going the advanced. Okay, come on, let's go. Okay, so since Venki already covered my background, so what I'm going to touch is basically, what is my current role? So currently I'm working at Raytheon Technologies. for the last 7 years or so. Raytheon is basically a large aerospace and a defense contractor. My current role within the Raytheon is a chief engineer and chief architect. So what that means is basically I have a much grandeur program level responsibility. I'm a key person engaging with the customer. And the customer right now is National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. Within the NOAA, there is a Office of Water Prediction. It's part of the National Weather Services. So it is a critical, as you guys might know, currently the government is shut down, but it is still functional from our standpoint. Part of the reason is National Weather Service is considered as the essential service. So there's no shutdown impact. Coming to years of experience, I think since I've been working in various sectors for the last 30 plus years, 35 years or so. I can't believe it. Time flies so fast when you're having fun time. So I worked on various sectors. So that's one of the good strength that I feel like. I know some of my friends basically stuck in one area. I am not saying that that is a bad thing. So you're basically going deep into the domain on that side. For example, whether it's a banking side or maybe in other sectors where they actually. For me, working in a private sector, especially the technology side, telecom, financial, insurance, pharmaceutical, the wholesale, retail, you name it, right? Now, I felt like I have something missing in my resume, or what else I can do. So something I haven't touched on the public side of it, which is basically working in a government contracts, whether it's a state, local, or federal. So luckily, I got this opportunity from Raytheon, working in the federal sector. It is a different beast altogether, which I will explain in a couple of minutes. The next one, what are my passions? So from the very early on my career, I think I always be challenged by the opportunities. I try to solve the problems. What are the problems that I can solve? I maybe come up with an innovative solution. So enabling the innovations. One of my passion is building teams, strong teams. I think so. Most of my career working in the private sector, and especially in the beginning of my career, which I'm going to share in the consultant role. So I think each one has a different flavor. Most of the times you're working the teams on the fly. You are coming with various people with the various backgrounds, both culturally, experience-wise, the different kind of people you deal with. The last one, I would say, customer focused. So I always, think in terms of the customer. So that will land you in the right place. What I mean by that is basically when you think in terms of the customer pain points, you won off the battle already, because now you're engaging with customer more proactively and you're speaking their language instead of hey, this is my way of doing it, my way of doing things, and that's not going to get you where you want, because that's going to be very disconnected, and we should not be looking in that perspective. So take a different viewpoint or step into the customer shoes. So once you do that, it's going to be a different ball game. Okay. Am I going too fast, or you guys have any concern? Just raise your hand if you have any questions. Don't hesitate. I want to be more active conversation rather than one-way dialogue. Okay, so let's look at my early career. So it's all where it started back in, I can go back all the way to SRKR days, right? So at the very beginning, back in late 80s, the computers are just popping up, right? So not many they're available. So if you, I know at the beginning we have one or two computers. I think the first, maybe our batch got the first one, or maybe one batch before. At that time, only three departments: civil, mechanical, and electronics and communications. So electronics and communication has the lab. That lab has one machine, that is the PC-80. I don't know how many of you know about it. So it's a 380. I don't think even 386 came, or maybe there's the early days of 83, 86. That's the architecture, right? The CISC-based architecture. There's only one computer. So the first programming language I learned is Fortran, right? Fortran is, it comes back and bites me again, right? So afterwards, I never heard about Fortran. I'm working for the weather programs, both NASA and NOAA and a lot of other science-based programs still use Fortran. So that karma comes back, right? But luckily, I'm not in the programming world anymore, being a leader, so I'm not actually doing any coding on that perspective. But the point is that early beginnings basically gave the opportunity to get into the computer science. So especially the last year, the final year, we had the project called AutoCAD, computer-aided design. So the first time we did the design work for the 8086 processor. Well, actually, a Motorola 68,000 processor. So that's where my passion went into the computer science, understanding and looking into. So in the beginning, I worked at very first role for me is the programmer analyst at SQL Star back in Hyderabad, software STP, Software Technology Park. That's in Maitrivanam. Most of you might know about it. But SQL Star has the offices both in Hyderabad and New Delhi. That's my first gig in India, and then I migrated to US. My first gig in US was basically enterprise rent-a-car. This is based out of in St. Louis, Missouri. So that was as a consultant. So when you first come on H1, obviously everybody end up as a consultant. So you need to be understanding what they're actually doing, or you need to be basically, that's where I learned a lot of good things. The culture, first and foremost, it is a different culture we have to address, and cultural transformation has to happen. One of the things that those early days, we used to have a supervisor who basically comes and checks and who is doing what and that kind of thing. That's new to me. I think typically common maybe back in India, but here in US, that's the only customer I ever dealt with to have a manager or somebody whose job is basically checking people. Is he coming on time? So usually people start 8 o'clock in the morning. Most of you know, all right? So you have to be there 8 o'clock. If you're late and he's going to ask you, hey, why you are late and all that kind of things. So that tells me, the timing. It is very important. Is each thing that you are contributing, or you're basically, trying to do things right. And since I'm new to here and I have to do better job, the challenge is basically imposter syndrome. What that means is basically sometimes you doubt yourself. Sometimes you want to be perfection. You want to be, oh, they're going to know my weak points, or maybe fear of exposure yourself, right? So these are all kind of things that basically puts you in a difficult spot. So so how do I overcome these kind of imposter syndrome challenges, such as self-doubt, perfectionism, fear of exposure? So first and foremost, basically, you need to track your evidence of success, whether it is a small or big, no matter how big it is. It's basically, you need to keep track of your win journal. What that means is whether you get an email appreciation, or a successful project, or maybe you reach a certain milestone. So when you have a particular thing in doubt, if you have a self-doubt that coming back, am I doing right? So you go back and look at it, revisit those and understand what's there. And then, failure, right? Or maybe perfectionism. Treat every mistake as a learning opportunity rather than proofing of inadequacy or hey, I'm not good, I'm not able to do things. But every opportunity is basically a learning opportunity. Every mistake you're doing is basically a learning opportunity. So you basically being a self-doubt, maybe share with your peers, maybe with the mentors, or if you don't have one, talk to your family member, right? Hey, I got this experience. So, hey, what do you think? Am I doing over analyzing it, or maybe do you see something different than what I'm thinking? So you come across various people, right, throughout your career. So each one has a different perspective. Each one has a different objectives. Each one has their own motives, right? So you can change their motives, right? So how do we come around their motives, or how do you put yourself in front of that? So I think that is very important. And also think about focus on the growth. So not comparison. This is one thing I always advocate, not to compare with others. Everyone is unique. Okay, you measure your progress against your past self, not others. Okay, everyone's path is different, everyone's time is different. So biggest lesson learned there is basically build your credibility. How you're going to build your credibility and confidence? By going technical depth first. So you go and understand. Say, for example, you started learning Python. Okay, do I have the ins and outs of the Python? That what it does is basically it gives you confidence. Yes, I can do. Yes, I can solve any problem. So that confidence and stay positive is very, very, very important. So I'm going to emphasize on that. Anyone has any comments or anything you want to share before okay. Okay, that's a very good thing. Sometimes it's one click is not
Yeah,
enough.
if anyone has any questions, they can type up in the chat, or you can hold them for the end. But if there is anything points to add, they can jump in now.
Yeah, that's right. So how do I transition to leadership? So there's always comes in the opportunities. Opportunities come in a different way, right? So when I started my career, I'm very hands-on, right? So focused on technical challenges and building strong expertise in software engineering, system engineering, or maybe cloud computing later on, and other technology stack relevant to the job. So each job requires different skills, different tools, different paradigms, procedures, everything, right? So I think what you have to do is basically don't measure yourself by just your own output as a leader, right? But how well you could enable others to succeed. As a leader, that's what you should be focusing on. It's not just about me. Now, as a leader, I have to look at all the other people who are actually reporting to me, either directly or indirectly, how they can be successful, not to be in putting in a difficult job. So what I learned is that leadership is less about control and more about trust. So when my role shifted from execution to empowerment, basically it focuses on removing blockers, having a mentoring opportunity, and creating an environment where team could thrive. So that changes has been incredibly rewarding. So today, I define success not just by what I deliver, but by the opportunities I create for others and the value the team brings to the organization. So coming from the doer to the enabler. So previously, as an individual contributor, you're basically doing everything yourself. You basically taking that responsibility, but because you are an individual contributor. But to be a lead, at first, I thought I had to prove and I deserved the role by doing more myself, because I have to be doing, I should be everything I have to be doing myself. I should be knowing everything. So that basically puts you in a very stressful environment, right? So because you're stressing out, you're doing everything by yourself. The other important one is being a leader is a delegation. So that is one thing I put myself in front of my monitor every day. Delegate. I tend to take a lot of things on my own. Okay, sometimes you need to let go. So I mentioned about the perfectionism. So if you're trusting your team, okay, you need to let go that perfectionism and give the feedback. Let the team come back. And now I do a lot of reviews and make sure that they're doing right. Or maybe if they're going half path, or maybe I'll redirect them. Okay, let's think about this way. Did you think about these opportunities? Have you thought about what if scenarios? So you're basically directing the people instead of micromanaging at the every step of the way. So what that means is basically you need to learn influence. How will you do that? I need to win the trust and alignment first, right? So not just writing the best solution as an architect, as a chief engineer. I have the both the technical responsibilities as the management responsibilities, where I have to deal with the various groups, including the customer. So I have two different messages. If I'm talking to technical leadership or technical team, I have a different message. When I talk to a customer focused, I have a different message, right? That these two are going to be aligned. It has to be aligned. So during that process, basically, what I learned is one of the biggest shift is empathy. So you need to learn how to be empathetic, to understanding not just the technical side of the challenge, but also the perspectives, the motivations, and the struggles of my teams and peers, right? That allowed me to build trust, create an environment. I'll give you examples in the subsequent of what it takes to get to that level of trust. Also, I had to learn influence without authority. So if I just see, this is one of the challenge very early on, related to the culture as well. So I was leading a program, and basically I was giving the directions and putting in the communication. So the communication is very key, right? So I was making the statements and sending in the email, and sometime later I got a feedback from project manager. Hey Ravi, you're not actually. It seems like you're commanding everybody. That very I took as a shock, and I was surprised. Why do you think so? What did I do? Did I say something bad, or what happened? Oh, you know what, Ravi? You're basically, can you do this? Can you do that? So you're saying that it is basically direct, and you're basically commanding, and that is maybe taken as a commanding style. Then I asked him, what should I be doing? What should I never thought that way. What did I do wrong? So can you just add a please statement in there? Include please. That changes a lot, right? So what that means is basically understanding and communicating in a right way. So even though your intention may not be you try to command, but you are actually telling in a polite way. So that makes a lot of difference, because our cultural upbringing may be completely different than what we have, and what you are actually experiencing. Polish and others, which has a very, very strong-minded. But when you look at Eastern cultures like Japan and maybe China and some of the Southeast Asian countries, it has a very, very polite, and they're very cordial, and you have a different kind of thing. People from Africa has a different style, and South America has maybe a different style. So everyone is different. So you need to be putting a emphasis and messaging. And one of the things I learned, sometimes when you're stressed and you are very strong, opinionated on your words, I think you're basically going to say, okay, it has to be done this way, right? So I think sometimes that's going to be go in a wrong message, and you will be in a difficult spot. I had that experience too, right? So um, sometimes I have to take stands. But how I take the stand is different, and each experience is different. So what I learned in the beginning is basically when I took the stand, I was very blunt, okay, without convincing factors. No, I had to be doing this way only. This is my way. You should be doing this way. But it doesn't get you the way you want it to be. So you have to take an approach where one of the important thing is never ever send when you are angry, any kind of email or any kind of even the phone call. Take a deep breath, step back. What is in for me? Why I'm doing what I'm doing? So the why part always come into the play. So think back before you aggressively or angrily responding to a. Sometimes, yeah, we are all humans. We have the emotions. We do have situations where things get frustrated for whatever reasons, whatever the beliefs, whatever the motivations you have. But as a leader, you have to be taking more responsibility, because if somebody wants to follow you, somebody wants to listen to you, somebody wants to understand you, you have to take a one step back. Am I doing this right? My email is going to bother somebody? If that's the case, just reread before you hit that send button. Reread that. Did I do this right? And maybe sometimes if you just you don't have to be respond immediately. Emails are asynchronous communication. Emails, nobody expect that you have to be responding right away. If somebody is asking you, basically they might be calling you. When it is email is asynchronous communication. So think on those terms, and sometimes take a step back. Do not try to get into the argument or the fight right mode. Okay. So stakeholder alignment, I think that's another thing I want to discuss. So when you are so successful in the technical solutions, that's all happening most of the times, maybe in isolation, maybe, but that needs to be translated back into the how the business is going to be get benefit, whether it is a business or maybe a product that you're working on. All these needs to be aligned. If you can come up with a grandeur kind of solution, but if it doesn't align with what the business is expected or the product is trying to do, where is that energy goes? It doesn't go anywhere because it's not going to be successful. So the communication I was telling early, so it has to be, that's one of the things I have to work early on. Ability to communicate clearly, manage the expectations, and create a shared environment where diverse people or groups share their opinions, their perspective, their ways. Sometimes instead of you giving the solution up front, or maybe you have certain things as a leader, technical leader, or maybe a business leader, you have certain goals and things that you want to set it up. Hey, by the way, we're going to use the open source technology for this entire program. But there are solutions can be done, various commercial off-the-shelf cost products out there. But that's the stand, right? People come up with the different angles, and hey, I have the AWS has the solution, but the requirement is that it has a multi-cloud solution compatible, right? What that means is basically you're only enforcing the rules and setting the hey, by the way, the solution is great. Unfortunately, we can't use this. For example, maybe Lambda functions on the AWS, right? So how do I do if when we put this application, the customer is expecting to be multi-cloud compatible? What do I do when it goes to GCP? What do I do when it goes to Azure, for example? So this is not going to work. Lambdas are not available on GCP or on the Azure. So you have to find a right way or how to convince the team, okay, come up with a different alternate solution because it has to be open source compatible. So that's how you bring it to the table as a leader. So what I took on, so some of the things I took on is the cross-functional initiatives in the beginning. So what that means is I may not have a direct authority, right? I have to work with others, but I have to influence others. By building the trust, by taking the what is the outcome? Okay. By the way, I have to be, for example, I work with the our legal team, also our supply chain. So supply chain has, hey, by the way, I need to go get this software. Can you go and find out? Or maybe I need to work with a vendor. The vendor has certain things. So they're saying that they're giving this codes, or maybe the particular things they may be aligned to what the proposals. So I think you need to go back and ask and reiterate how different things are going to work. Just give me. Sorry about that. Okay. So you need to go back and reiterate that you're not going to rules set forth for the particular vendor or a particular department that you're working with, but you're going basically doing a tight collaboration between the engineering, the product, and the operation teams, and so on and so forth. So also the cross-functional side of it is working with the customer. Customer interactions are very, very, very important. So gathering the feedback, especially understanding their pain points, as I mentioned earlier, and ensuring the solutions are addresses the real world challenges, right? So there are other opportunities where I'll explain more about on that, expand that a little bit on the customer interactions. Mentoring is another one. So maybe when you're a lead, so you're basically just talk to your peers, or maybe just within your team, just coach them. That helps you, and it will create that empathy, understanding their motives, their what they are actually looking for. All these things can be a value add. So I'm going to quote here. I forgot who this quote. Leadership is more about enabling others than directing them. So think about that way. Okay. Any particular questions, anyone?
I don't see anything even in the chart, Ravi garu, so far.
Okay, good. Let's keep moving. So inflection points. This is one area. So as I mentioned, I migrated to US. Initially, most of my jobs were in consulting roles where I don't have any freedom to choose, and where do I have to focus my energy on? The duration and most of the expectations are set by the customer needs, and I don't have much say. But that changed when I shifted to a full-time opportunity. The first one I got is I was a consultant at a large bank. That bank basically offered me a full-time opportunity, which I accepted. So I was part of an enterprise services team. So where I had the opportunity to learn about multiple lines of businesses. Okay, that's a completely cross-functional team. Um, then there I learned working with various stakeholders. So one of the biggest one that experience was Patriot Act. Soon after 9/11 happened, there was a Patriot Act imposed on the financial institutes. Whoever is opening the bank accounts, they needs to be checked against their backgrounds. So this is a ultimatum given by the government. So we have to comply within less than 9 months. So bank has a 30 lines of businesses where we have to come up with a solution. So there's a technical problem, then there is a business side of it, basically complying with coming up with a solution that complies with all lines of businesses. So, and the bank has so many acquisitions over the period of time, so many technology stacks. So how to come up with a solution that fits for everyone's. So it is not possible to completely integrate the solution into all 30 line of businesses. So how to come up with a solution. So that's basically stretches your thinking, going into different areas, understanding each line of business, what their goals are. So come up with what is the pattern set established, and come up with a solution. That's one experience. Then when I moved from that gig to another one, which is basically a privately family-owned business. This is where the challenge was basically, I took the architect role. The role is basically, they're dealing with the growth and scalability. So they have a custom-built software, which is completely bastardized version of this green screen based application AS400, and they have the most sophistication in the sense, when a customer service representative calls, they answers the call live person. Even today, till today, they still answer the call live in person with the less than one ring. So the efficiency brought into that one is basically understanding the customer, finishing the call, and what we can expect. The customer service representative addresses at least 40 different functions without even transferring the call. The company is Uline. I'm proud to work for that company. It gave me more deeply. That's where my experience of getting into the customer shoes. So it's a family owned. They are, maybe by the time I was there at $1 billion, within 2 years they crossed the 2 billion mark just on the revenue side. So it was growing really, really fast. But another inflection point in my career was, up until to that point, I was working predominantly in the Java stack and predominantly IBM set of products. So I thought, this is not right. So I'm stuck in this. So I want, because every opportunity I can keep coming in the same way. So this is where I went to Nokia. This is it's a Navtech, to be honest, but Nokia acquired us later on. So the Navtech opportunity is basically a step back. Sometimes you need to be taking one step back to forward 5 steps ahead or 10 steps ahead. That's what exactly that experience gave to me. So that project is basically why I say step back. Financially, it was not motivating to move to the company, but what motivated to me move is I have the opportunity to get into the open source side of it. So that experience was an awesome experience. That is the biggest inflection point in my career, because I worked in a global team, a team of 120, an innovative solution. I have the team in 3 continents and 4 countries: North America, Europe, Asia. In Chicago, Frankfurt, Bosnia, and then Mumbai. It was an amazing experience. So what was the challenge? The challenge was, like I said, the scalability, the performance, and the business agility. So what's ultimately business is getting. So this is a location content management system where their main business is basically, probably you guys might have used in the past, the government kind of devices. We are the backbone for all the navigation. We collect the data. We basically make sure that that data is properly coded, geocoded, and basically able to map it over, right? And routing and all those kinds that of things that goes behind with it. But the content is getting bigger and bigger, especially the biggest markets at that time was China and India, and the system is not able to scale well. So that taught me basically think in terms of coming up with a completely open source solution. When nobody was talking about big data, we dealt with the big data. The solution was using an open source Hadoop stack when not even a single book exists. So I used to fly to from Chicago or going all the way to San Jose. Why? Because that's the only, there's a 1 hour or 2 hours session about meetups, right? Remember the meetups? So because that's the only place I can get some information how these things work. But the important takeaway, the result of that is basically a cost-effective solution. So initially it was expected 12 million just to hardware and software. Oracle is the one solution that we were using. And it takes almost 30 days to process the data. And it is, we were releasing only on a quarterly basis. That changed the entire thing. So we were, the open source solution was, all we spent is $2 million on the hardware, right? That includes the development effort. The performance from 30 days to less than a week. I think it took 3-4 days. Now we can do more dynamic updates. The content will be more refreshed, more dynamically. So this is all happened. It is a big career change. So what especially in the Hadoop world and a lot of places where it opened my doors up because I went on stretch goals, right? So when you're not comfortable, take that as an opportunity and run with it. And it is going to be tough. There are tough times, no doubt about it. Every day we were not able to make the system reliable and compliant. But at the end, it was a very, very, very successful engagement. And in fact, we did receive a Data Impact Award in one of the delivery, and business supported us really well. Okay, so a couple of others, I think, okay. So I'm going to fast forward here. Some other formal programs, I would say, network analytics at T-Mobile. I don't know anything about telecom. I have one person who is a telecom expert, and we are responding to an RFP. And I was in the front end of the business, which is basically bringing the business to the organization. And I spent some time with him. What's the problem? What kind of challenge? So come up with the solution and able to. So myself and another gentleman, basically the sales guy couldn't show up for that customer presentation. So 2 of us just went there and we won against 5 other, right? So basically that gave me a very good experience as well. I can go on that for another half hour on this, just on that topic. Another one at HP, customer service management, where HP is split into two companies, HP Enterprise and HP, the original, which has the laptops and other businesses. So they have 30 different applications. They want to be combined, and they were also transitioning from on-premises systems to the cloud-based and big data oriented systems. So completely built from ground up. So these basically, the challenge at that time was there was another simultaneous program was going, and what my approach was basically re-architecting the solution. So they have the legacy application. They're saying that we're going to bring it as is and basically do that, right? It failed miserably. They couldn't do it. And they were basically pushing me back, saying that, okay, no, you can't do this, Ravi. So this is after almost 9-10 months into the program. We are about to go live within a month. And basically the architecture team came back and said, no, we can't push this one. No, I did not agree. And I basically, so this is where the leadership comes into the play, right? So I come up with a plan. How do I'm going to give them what are my talking points? What are the data points I have? What was the reason why we're doing the way we are doing? And I convinced them. So at the last, I think one vice president stood up me, and it looks like Ravi has a right point, and I think we're going with this. So he overrode the architectural team objections. So why? Because he convinced. He's looking at the business side of it, right? It's not about the technical. Technical is definitely a factor, but you have to have a convincing things that you need to be looking at. So that was a win. And stretch assignments. So this is another one. So technically, network analytics achievable is a stretch, but I think it is much more on the back-end process. The one I'm working, there are federal programs. Like I said, I never worked on the federal side. I never worked on the federal, and the whole jargon is different. The work culture is different. It was a lot of adjustmenting style for me, from going finishing programs quickly and make things happen on the private sector. That's how things move fast. But in coming to the public sector, I'll tell one program, which is FAA, Network Enterprise Services, Federal Aviation Administration. So this is a large-scale implementation, a $5 billion proposal. I have almost 120 plus members on this team. That includes subcontractors, vendors, lot of other departments. So we spent, before me, they already spent 2 years. And after me joining, another 2 years, just working on the proposal. I hated in the beginning. What the hell? Why? Hey, I should have finished 2 other programs in outside. But what taught me is basically the size and scale of this program. There are reasons why they're doing what they're doing. Every time they're updating, every time, because it's a life critical system. So this program is basically about everything that goes from aircraft from pushed out from the gate all the way reaching back at the destination gate, right? Every single communication that goes between these, from the moment pulled out of the gate all the way to reaching the destination gate. All that is going through this network. So I was predominantly working on the information management. So the size and scale. So if you ever heard about 5 nines, for example, that's what it is. Less than 20 seconds, less than 2 minutes or so, something, a monthly downtime. That means you need to build resiliency. That means you need to build the failover to failover, and all those kind of things. So there's so many factors that needs to be. So it stretches your thinking, your opportunity to go. The one currently I'm working with the NOVA Office of Water Prediction business, out of thin air they ask me, hey Ravi, you need to come here, there's a customer presentation. Why me? Hey, this is about the hydrology. I have no freaking clue about the hydrology other than drinking the water or maybe taking a bath and all that kind of stuff with the water. I don't know anything about hydrology. But he convinced me saying that, no, Ravi, I know you very well. This is a systems problem. So this is a three sciences coming together. One, hydrology, water sciences. Number two, data science. Number three, computer science. It's a combination of all these three. But once you get in, you need to be putting all your 100% into that. So for me, basically taking the bigger picture, understanding the bigger concepts. So one thing during the proposal, so this is my proudest achievement, I can say, without me knowing. This is the one I told you about fence or the FAA program. It took more than 2 years and another year for just evaluation, which I was not part of it. But OWP, Office of Water Prediction, next gen water prediction capability, what it does is basically predicting the flood forecasting and saving the lives and actually the property and so on and so forth, right? So I don't have the science behind it. I don't know anything about it, but I need to understand what is the landscape looks like. Where
Ravi garu, just sorry to interrupt, Andy. It's 12:55.
Oh, 12:55. Okay. So I'll just conclude there. So basically, it will give you the stretch of your thinking. So do not you take these opportunities as your levers to take into the next level. So that definitely helps. Mentorship is another one. Either you have a mentor or do a mentee, mentoring to others. External impact, I already mentioned conferences, and I had the opportunity to take the publication, but I don't know, I don't regret that, but I think when I asked another colleague of me who was doing it, Ravi, it is, if you want to do it for the fame, just go ahead and do it. This is not for money. I'm not talking about the money, but I think it takes a significant amount of time if you want to go into the publication. In fact, I did get the opportunity, but I did not take that one. So let's do, okay, so build depth and breadth later. So as I mentioned, go deep into the things that you want to do it, right? So take that as an opportunity. Always, then you can spread your wings, go into the breadth later. Coachable and seek feedback. Always ready to open up your heart, open up your, trying to learn from others, observe and learn. And all the time, take the feedback. Hey, what did I do? Did I do something right or wrong? Can you tell me? Can you tell me where should I fix some of the issues? That always helped me a lot. Leadership is always about trust and responsibility. It's a combination. Somebody needs to trust you. Why anyone listens to you? If they have the, first of all, you need to build that trust. If once you got that trust, I think there's a lot of things can work your way. Okay. Communication and empathy matters. I already touched briefly early on how important the communication is very important. Don't reactive and make it as much proactive as possible. So you don't want to surprise anybody saying that, okay, we're going to miss our deadline. If you're saying that you have a deadline on Friday, and Friday 12 o'clock you're calling somebody and telling I'm going to miss, that's a bad thing, right? So you should have at least give a 1 week notice or something in advance saying that, by the way, I'm obligated to finish all these things. When you're expecting, I'm not able to make So if any time, whether it's a customer, whether you're manager or whoever that is, right? Always, communicate early on. I know your why. So leadership comes with the tough calls, setbacks, and criticism. So you have to take with and always protect your team. So one of the things I was telling early on, where my team member, basically what happened was 3 days before, he accidentally deleted the entire script. So up to that point, more than 1 month work of is gone. So what do I have to do as a team lead? I have to protect resource. It was a mistake happened, right? So that's the responsibility I took it. I never ever really released the name of the person who took that action, because that's how as a leader, sometimes you have to dodge the bullets. That is very, very important, right? Yeah, things happen, but I think we were able to, luckily, we were able to recover. At that time, we should have source code control system. Customer does not have it. We, in retrospect, I think I the customer, but we were in hush, hush, hush. Hey, we need to finish fish. This is the production issue. We need to fix it immediately, blah, 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 right? So sometimes these you miss those kind of things. So the last one here, nurture your network. I think that's important. Don't not burn bridges. You keep your relationship. Most of the times, sometimes you never know how the your next opportunity comes from with your network. Hey, I think I work with this guy. Basically, I can use this guy coming back into my opportunity, and that happened so many times for me. Okay. Call to action. So take some actions. I know, sorry, I'm taking the time. So I think I mentioned about the discomfort. Whenever you have the opportunity, let's start first one. Start small. Leadership is about waiting for the perfect moment. It begins with a small step. Speaking up in a meeting, leading a small initiative, or mentoring someone junior, it builds leadership muscle. Second, seek discomfort. As I mentioned, biggest growth moment comes in my career was when I had yes to the challenges and stretch me, right? Cross-functional team, customer interactions, the roles you want to play. Discomfort is actually gives you a growth. Third, be intentional. Don't just drift through your career. Reflect, adapt, and own your journey. Leadership is a practice, and intentionally turns experience into growth. And finally, remember, you don't need a title to lead. Leadership is not a position, it is a choice. It starts when you act with the purpose and create an impact, and no matter your role is. So my challenge to you this tomorrow, take one small action that moves you closer to the leader you want to be. Mentor a colleague, or maybe speak up with an idea, volunteer for something outside your comfort zone. Those small steps adds up, and before you know it, you'll be leading with the trust, empathy, and purpose. So what I have is just some slides about different leadership styles. You can basically look up into these, and also some resources. Those who are in career professionals, how do you start? These are some books that you can refer to. Those who are already in a technical leadership role, take a time to read some of these books, which help you, grow into a other than technical leader, right? So whether it's the emotional intelligence, whether it is whether you're playing at the psychological roles and other safety things that you need to be addressing. Emotional intelligence is very, very important, and you stay connected and support SAANA. So I think we have so many opportunities, whether it's a website, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. We just started the YouTube, and all these presentations will be available there too. And thank you for your time, and really appreciate. I hope you all got something out of this. I guess probably you will take some of these in your career.
Ravi Garu, thank you, Ravi Garu. That was a long and good presentation, especially who are into the management roles, I think. We have one question from Jay Garu. What is the composition of authority, trust, empathy, etc. in the leadership role? Any winning combination from your experience?
It's all combined. So honestly, all of them play a role, Andy. So I think empathy is, you're open to speak as well. So empathy is very, very important, and the understanding. So I have a situation where I'm dealing with a lot of tough deadlines. I have an employee who is I wouldn't say he's a new, but he's 3-4 years, but he has a baby. So everybody is working. So should I put him in the program and ask him to do it? No, that's not going to be taken into, I should not. Even, so for the team's sake, I might say that, hey, come. I said, no, your exception. Just, I know you're dealing with a family. You just had a baby, and I know how that difficult is. So you need to be amazing for the person that's going on. What was the other things, Anaru?
Authority, trust, empathy.
Authority, uh, there are two nature penalty. One, when you have a conviction, when you have certain things. So I'll give one other example. When I was working on this NOAA program, not the program, the pursuit, the RFP, one of the customer ask is basically assess what is the current lacking of the system, what kind of things that we can improve on. So I put together as a slide, and I have the coaching person and the person who is actually, by the way, this is a completely oral presentation. The way the assessment was done is completely oral. That's a full day session. So I had to be, this is a completely unknown territory for me from the science standpoint, because I'm not a hydrologist. When I put that, you said that, Ravi, if you are putting this, we should not be bidding this program at all. I did not, but sorry, this is what the customer is asking. If I am not truthful to the customer, they might come back and say certain things in the later. Okay, I know I'm going to be part of the execution as well, because I have to take a stand. So that guy was upset he didn't come for the next two sessions, which is fine. But I think I toned down the message. So sometimes you have to take the feedback. So I thought maybe he's telling for a reason. So he was saying, "Oh, ours is a shitty, and you want us to basically put that, and no customer is going to liking that." I understood. So what I did is basically I massaged the same message in a different tone, right? So it's not a direct and point and saying that finger pointing at them. Rather, I spin up saying that there is an opportunity here how we can do things differently. Okay, I state the problem, but there is an opportunity, right? So this is how you communicate, how you massage that the message in a different way is basically a so that's the reason how I won this $80 million program, right? So I know we're for this program we have a very less chance, because there was a competitor who won almost 8 different programs for the last 2 years, prior to last 2 years, and we thought, how in the world we are going to win it? We win with the conviction, what I know, and the research I did about the program. I'm completely outside person, but you go with the gut, right? It's not going to take you down. Okay, I hope I
All right.
answered that.
Okay. Any other questions, Sandy? I think it's already 1:09 Eastern. Okay. That's it, Ravi garu. Once again, thank you so much. And all the participants, thank you for your participation. We will have this recorded session loaded to our SAANA YouTube and we'll share in all the social media and all the platforms. And please do encourage our other SRK or alumni if they're not aware of. Please do encourage them to join and take membership. It's all the details are on our SAANA website.
We're also looking for volunteers too. So
Yeah,
yeah, if you
and
want
yeah,
to
you're right.
volunteer,
And
yeah.
we are looking for volunteers to take up the executive committee and board of director roles and volunteers
Collaboration.
and presentations or any other skills that they can contribute and help our
Yeah.
fellow SRKites.
Share your experience. Yeah, definitely. I think you can contribute as well. So I think that's really helpful. Giving back to the society. Thank you, and really appreciate Venki and all the participants. Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right.
Thank you,
Thank
Ravi.
you all.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.